split it up into 5 points, the dumbbell, and this kind of structure works well for any overhead that you're going to apply leg drive to. So actually you could steal the principles and adapt them for log, axle, barbell, whatever you're going to do to lift a weight from the ground to overhead. Yeah. So I'm going to split it up into 5. I'm going to start off with the clean. So the clean is going to be lifting the dumbbell from the floor to a rack position. A lot of people, what a lot of people do kind of inefficiently here is they put it on the shoulder, and then what we want to do is actually try and keep the dumbbell as central as possible. So what I want you to imagine is like the center of mass of the dumbbell, keep us close to our center line throughout every portion of the lift, and this will give you a really good head start in being good at dumbbell. Big error that I see, people just balance it out here, and if you imagine the center of the mass of the dumbbell, it's all down kind of this side where the dumbbell is. So if we can, we want to bring it central, and also keep the dumbbell as central as possible from the floor to deliver into that position. So we don't want it to be out here, we want to keep it close here. So I like to use the belly button and the sternum as like a bit of a focal point, and either think of a straight line there and try and keep the dumbbell always directly below that or above that when it gets up here. So Dec, if you just demonstrate the clean, and just do it in slow motion with that because it's slow. So look how he's starting really central, and then let's get it up to your shoulders. Yeah, so nice. So then he's going to move to position 2, so I don't want you to press it there. Just do 5 cleans in slow motion. And what I want you to see is that what we're trying to get Dec to do here is draw it from here through this center line. And a cue that I like for the clean that keeps it simple is almost think about replacing your head. So where your head is, think about plucking the dumbbell to where your head is, and then by the way, or sometimes I say to people, take your face off with the clean, so they'll come up here, explode up, and then at the last possible second kind of get the head out of the way. So it just keeps that dumbbell on that really efficient line there, yeah? So the second point here we'll move on to will be the rack position. So the rack position is basically where the dumbbell is balanced as it's connected to your torso. So you're supporting all the weight here. So what Dec's doing really well there, he's putting it on that, say around his trap, his upper back area, let's see, and I just want you to hold it in the rack position, Dec. So hold it here, so I want you to pause there, Dec, and I want you to imagine like a straight line through the center of the dumbbell, and what you can see, don't get me wrong, it is quite light for Dec here, so sometimes it can get a bit easier to go a little bit heavier so you get a bit of feedback for the weight, but if we drew the line through the center of the dumbbell here, you can actually see that he's over towards this left leg quite a bit, so I think he's going to have a lot more success in terms of efficiency if he just shifts his weight over towards this right knee a little bit there. Maybe open up the knee a little bit, open up the hip. So you can hopefully see from the front here, if you drew like an imaginary straight line down there, say load that right leg a little bit more, yeah? So here, that's going to be more pretty central now, yeah? So next thing, once you've established this ideal rack position, now we want to apply leg drive to the implement to make it, say, to lift it from here to get it to lockout, because that's the ultimate goal. So what we want to do now, once we've established this, is learn how to dip down whilst maintaining this perfectly straight line. What you see a lot of people doing is as they go to dip down, the dumbbell will go out there, and then I don't know if people have tried it and struggled with it a little bit, where they've come down here and they felt like they're getting pulled out there, yeah? And that is always because the dumbbell isn't central, you see? So before you move on to the dip, like step 3, the dip, like we're going to now, you need to do the rack, get the ideal rack position as the prerequisite, yeah? So we'll go to the dip now. So make sure that you've got this rack first, and then what I want you to do is imagine you just dip down at it and then stand back up. Dip down, stand back up. That's it, dip down, stand back up. Good stuff, so that's number 3. So the next step is going to be the drive. So the dip is just on the way down. The drive is going to be exploding on the way up. So if you just drive up and you can do a full press now, Dec. That's it. So you can see as he drives up, the dumbbell, because he's maintaining that kind of perfectly central line all the way through, as he goes to drive up and apply power, the dumbbell goes up, yeah? And then that takes us to number 5, which is the final position, which we'll call the catch or the receiving position. And I just want you to get into that position again, Dec. So again, what I want you to do, and you guys looking from the side, if you're interested, it is worth going to have a look at the front because you can see it. Go overhead. Right, and pause there. So again, let's look at where the center of mass is. Pretty much, it should be down this center a little bit, yeah? So probably a little bit more that way. But you'll find that if you build up with the weights and get to a challenging weight, so stuff like this will self-correct and you'll actually learn that, oh yeah, if I go there, it feels a lot better, yeah? So work backwards from that and think about those five spots as like almost as prerequisites of each other, yeah? There's no point in trying to do the full lift if you haven't established doing the drive. but you can't do the drive first before you've established kind of dip properly without losing it. And you can't even do, you shouldn't be really doing that properly until you've found that kind of central rack position. So just think about that as like a simple progression pathway. And we'll just see what happens to Deck when he goes a little bit heavier. So we'll go from, that was 13, we'll go up to 50. So we can go full speed now, and I just want you to see that, analyze it. It might not be perfect, I put him on the spot, but just have a look and just think of the context that I provided in terms of those 5 different positions, and the principle being about the keeping this central line throughout. Yeah, none of the going out to the side, and let's see what Deck can do. See how centrally he keeps it, and analyze the 5 different points. So that's 1, 2, and then we go to the dip and drive. Yeah. Yeah, oh, brilliant question. Yeah. So the 5 pointers there, I've given you like a universal principles that if you go and apply those, regardless of whether you do what you're referring to as a jerk, yeah, where basically on the drive up, you're trading using your upper body strength to lock it out, to actually, you're finishing the drive, so you're doing the first 4 points exactly the same, but instead of finishing the drive with purely the punch of the upper body, you're actually maneuvering your lower body to get underneath and to help you with that lockout. So yeah, that's a jerk. So there's different variations of jerks that you can do. There's a push jerk, where basically you keep your feet, and that's one that I would say, if you push pressing, and it goes with it, whether you're doing a barbell or a log or an axle, go and give it a go. This is kind of a good entry level into doing jerks, because all you're doing is driving with the legs, and then after you finish the drive, all you're doing is rebending the knee again to catch. So your feet don't have to go anywhere. You're just rebending the knee. Instead of going boom and keeping your leg locked, you're going and getting underneath it. Yeah. Can you give us a bit of a demo? Yeah. Maybe go with this one. So let's see if Deck can demonstrate that. So just a push jerk. So all you're doing is rebending the knees. So you're cheating the lockout somewhat. Yeah, so that technically, you can see how he's getting underneath it. So technically speaking, that's a power jerk, where what he's done there is rebended the knee, but also what he's done, what you referred to, is actually stepped out a little bit as well. So yeah, that's a nice progression onto a push jerk. If you wanted to go one further than that, you can see what some people do, which I do, because it's basically another way to cheat, is going into a split, which obviously requires a lot more stability requirements and a bit more practice in terms of the balance, but it's massively beneficial. So instead of going here, you can probably see how I can get even lower if I'm like there, yeah? So let's have a go at that there. And again, I'm putting him on the spot here, so we'll give him a round of applause at the end, because he's doing great. Can you give us a split jerk? Yeah? So, fantastic demonstration, yeah? And then there are all kinds of different ways that you can say for instance, Deck's demonstrating a power clean here, where he's just going from the floor to the rack position, whereas I get to a point on this where it feels so heavy, the weight that I'm going to, that I just run out of power clean strength. So in that scenario, what I'd have to do would be, you can either, instead of going straight from the shoulders, you might find it easier to bump it up to the torso and doing a continental clean, bump it up to the torso and then flicking it up to your shoulder. Or you can go one further, which will be more scalable to really, really heavy weights, which will be using a hip clean, which is basically almost like a lot of people did with a log today, where you pick up the dumbbell and then you lap it and then you send it up from there. So Deck, can you show me one power clean? So you can see the power clean straight from the floor to the shoulders, straight up. Can you ever go at a continental clean, where you're just like bumping it off your torso on the way up? That's it. So he's going to be able to lift slightly more on that, and then let's see if he can do a hip clean, which he hasn't really done before. So you go here, yeah, and you're going to be able to lift significantly heavier doing that. But to be fair, a lot of you won't even need to worry about that. You're going to get your biggest returns on learning how to. You probably, as you're new to it, you can probably, like, seeing how strong you are today. You guys have competed, like deadlift strength. You could probably fling a pretty heavy dumbbell to your shoulders already. So I wouldn't worry too much about point one. I'd think about establishing that rack position. Try and find the position that feels comfortable, and then go and learn how to apply leg drive to it. Any other questions? Like,
I see a lot of people like wearing an arm sleeve with it.
Yeah.
Is that just so it doesn't bump their arm, or is that something else?
So I see the elbow sleeves and arm sleeves as like performance enhancers. Really, it's like we'd use, like, if we're going training for a competition, we'll be using like knee sleeves, belts, anything what's legal where we can get an advantage basically. But the elbow sleeves, what they do is basically the elbow sleeves. Causing the elbow joint to the support in them extending, yeah? So they're giving you a bit of a support like that. So if you're flexing like that, if you're bending your elbow whilst it's in the rack position, you've got that, instead of it just being dead here, and you just being that gap there, you've got a little bit of like kind of support, almost like a coiled spring, if you will, that gives you a little bit of support. So it can help you, for sure. Any other questions? Or what do people struggle with? Who's given dumbbell a go but is like, doesn't like it as much as like say axle, barbell or whatever? Come on, I'm looking at you, tell me.
No, well, I've tried that before. I've never really thought about the technique until now. So I mean, I feel like I've got more potential.
Yeah. Anybody? Yeah, go on.
I couldn't get it up, so to speak.
Right. But what was the problem? What was the?
So I was like just about getting it
There.
like, into the rack.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of practice. We had it as one of the events last year.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I knew the weight would be fine if I just had the right position, but I just couldn't get it
Yeah.
in line.
Super. Great. Is there anybody who'd like a go? Who'd like to have a bit of a go? Yeah. Cool. Let's give it a go. So we've got a 13, a 30, and a 50, right? And I want us to all look, and I want us to shout out to see what you could improve out of those, say, 5 points. Yeah. Just give it a go. Give it a go, and then I'll give my feedback to see what I think you should maybe focus on to improve. Give it a go. Fantastic. Really good. Do you want to go with the 50? Fantastic, mate. So, in fact, do the pink again. And what I want him to do this time to like exaggerate the things that or try and highlight the things that we're trying to cover in terms of the basics. I want you, apart from the clean, I want you to try and pause at each position. So I want you to give us like a 3 or 4, say a 5 second pause when you get it to the rack, yeah, and then a 5 second pause overhead, yeah. And let's just have a see. Yeah, if you can, yeah. Pause in the rack, pause in the dip, and let's analyse. So pretty good. Let's wait there. So if you think, pause there. Yep. So like centre of mass here, it's pretty damn good, yeah? And that's why the timing of that first rep looks really good. Can you pause at the bottom of the dip? So what's excellent here, what a lot of people with a rack position that looks good will struggle with, is they'll go down as they dip, and then that'll be when they roll it to the side. Whereas that's fantastic. You can have a little rest if you want, yeah? But that was brilliant, and a great little test of, like, say, think of the prerequisite sequence that I've just laid out for you. Your rack position looks really, really good. Because there'll be people here who give it a go, and they feel like, yeah, it feels comfy here, but then when I go to apply my leg drive, it's just pulling me out there, yeah? And if that's you, work on number 3 and 4, work on the dip, yeah? So train the bit in isolation. Like, that's what I've got him doing in training, and it's improved in loads, whereas he had a great rack position, but then as soon as he goes to apply leg drive, he's just like, oh, he's going all over the place, yeah? So we've got him doing almost like, say, quarter squats, if you will, but with the dumbbell in this position, and just learning how to control it, yeah, and feeling the feedback from the dumbbell. So let's have a go. Little pause in the rack, little pause in the dip, and then send it, yeah? Very good. Yeah, fantastic. Really good, really good. Do you want to go at the 50? Yeah? Sweet.
This is, by the way, you get extra points for this as well. So this is the keep on.
As the dumbbell gets bigger, I struggle keeping that rack.
Right, okay, yeah. Let's have a look. That's a brilliant clean, by the way. Fantastic, really, really good. Cool. So I'm going to give you another little tip here that you don't necessarily need, because that was really, really good. But this might say, what's your PB on it, do you know?
65.
So this might take you from like 65 to 75, 80 without getting much stronger. Would be simple little thing, and this is a complete cheat really. But it's like where your dumbbell. Can you bring the camera over here? So it's logical to keep the hand on the center of the dumbbell. What I'm a massive fan of is actually putting the hand to the front end. So basically what happens there is it makes it a little bit more difficult overhead to stabilize, but the trade-off is when you get it to this position here, it means the hand is closer to your ear and you're in a stronger position. And if you ever want to test this yourself, go the other way and try and rack it. Yeah, and my hand being further away there, even that feels like uncomfortable in my kind of upper body, whereas here feels so much stronger. Yeah, so you go there, and it doesn't feel quite as nice to stabilize overhead, but I find that most people, it's won or lost in the rack and whether you can dip and drive. So just have a little go at that and just see if the rack position feels any different.
Yeah, I've had this tip before. So is the hand further forward?
Yeah, because that'll make it closer when it's in the rack. So a simple way to remember it is think about getting your hand as close to your ear as possible when it's in the rack, and then that'll help you remember to work it out. Yeah, where to put your hand. Very good. Nice work. So yeah, just practice that, and that'll be really, really helpful.
Pulls you around a little more at the top.
It does, but it's pulling you around to a position where what you need to find and actually learn. Like it's basically trying to get you to find where it should be. Yeah. So a big thing for you, if you're going to change that hand position, would be actually your next session, do some like 5 to 10 second pauses overhead, and you'll find that the exact place to put it where it feels weightless, even with the hand right at the front. Yeah. Great job.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that'd like a go, like complete beginner or anything? Do you want to go? No? Go on then. The lightest one, 13. It would be good to have somebody do a little demo. It was like literally, it doesn't even lift, to be honest. If anybody's here, because I know that this guy's going to be pretty good, isn't he? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 13. Yeah. No. Yeah, good. It's beautiful, really good. So by the way, if you are wanting to give it a go, this one here is 13 kilos. You will not. I don't think there's a lighter one in the country that actually feels like one that you'd use at competition. So come and give it a go. You go to the pink one. That's 30. Yeah. What's your best push press with a bar or whatever?
Push press with dumbbells is
No, like barbell or log.
push press.
Ish. Right, you'll have no problem with that. Yeah. Go on then.
Bench is 150 if there's any.
Yeah, bench is rubbish, isn't it? Good. That's it. Nice work. So what you can see here, he's quite in the rack position here. He's quite far away over here like that. Yeah. There's a big distance away. Whereas a little tip, what I'd say to you, try and get your hand closer to your ear. So like here, so tucked in more, and you'll just feel like
Dumbbell further back.
yeah. And you can see another little tip. You see what I'm doing with my hand here? Like I'm not gripping it that much, because I'm actually just relying on it being in a good position. Yeah. Where I'm almost trying to think about it being connected to my torso. Yeah. And then like that, and send it up. So you can have one more go with your hand closer to your ear. So if that means the dumbbell's a little bit further down your back, so be it. That's it. That's better.
Does that look right?
Good stuff. Yeah. That'd be better.
Thank you very much.
Anybody? Well done, mate. Anybody else want to give anything a go or not? Are we all done? Yeah. Go on then. You.
Did you feel me like giving vibes from the bit? I'm sorry.
But yeah, we'll wrap it up there, guys. And if anybody's got any questions about any kind of strongman training, anything in particular, just come and grab me. And remember, follow on Instagram, share the thing that's on my latest post, and you'll win some free training potentially. So. Oh, YouTube probably. I'll probably put it on YouTube actually. Good stuff. So you can actually, some people do have success with it there, right? So some people actually do prefer it in this position here, which is a bit awkward for most, especially if you've got like, say like more so with blokes who've got like say bigger delts, and they might actually struggle getting it in that position there. But if it does feel pretty comfortable here, like pointing forward, does it or not? Like there? It doesn't look pretty, but the principles remain the same of center of mass here. So shift that weight through that side a little bit more, right, and then try and send it from there. Yeah, so it's actually really effective.
So is that just like a comfort thing, or is that your body naturally trying to get that hand to the ear?
Say that again, sorry.
Is by putting it like that, is that
Yeah.
you trying to make it naturally easy for you in that position, or is it just physically more comfortable resting it?
A lot of people who are like say new to it seem to just find that, especially women and smaller men, seem to actually find that this feels pretty comfortable. Or actually, instead of thinking it feels more comfortable, sometimes people actually struggle actually finding a position where this is balanced on you, that doesn't feel like it's falling all over the place. Yeah.
But I'm guessing as the weight falls up, because your hand's more compressed,
Yeah.
it's actually harder to get it up.
Well, the limiting factor is it shortens the range of motion. Lengthens the range of motion. So it can make it more difficult for sure. So I would definitely recommend the stuff that I've laid out. But there are certain people that, especially if, like, say, you're just training yourself and don't have, like, say, access to the implement, you might be banging your head against the wall for an hour, even with a light weight, trying to find a rack position. Whereas you know, say in the context what you had last year, where you're doing it as part of a medley, you only have to do 1 rep. You might actually find that you just can hammer those same principles that I've said, but just having it there is just, it's just really easy to learn, yeah? But if you wanted to scale to like, do it more frequently and like get to really heavier weights, definitely learning how to rack it there. Do you want to have a little go? See if you can do it? Try. But again, if you're having people giving it a go who are struggling with that rack position, so then they end up going like she did there, it can be really, really useful, like a magic trick, getting that hand right to the front, because it can make that rack position easier to stabilise, yeah? That looks better. That looks better with the hand moved, yeah? Start again. So put it down. So like literally this time, where you're almost at the front there, literally right to the front, thumb to the top of the cylinder, and see if it makes a difference in terms of looking more comfortable in the rack. What you'd say is try and get her elbow underneath it more. Yeah? That's it, she's worked. Oh, nearly. That's it, that looks good. That's pretty good. Have a little rest, and come back to it in a moment. So, and again, if you're having somebody who's like struggling like that a little bit, where she looked, once it's there, it feels easy, doesn't it? It doesn't feel heavy. So she just needs to build up like rack stability and actually time 12, 13. Do you want to go? No. So stuff like if you're coaching people this, like, and they just need to spend a bit more time there. You know, like we could see that she just needed to get her elbow under. Even just doing like pauses, or even getting somebody to walk around the room with it, is just magic. Let's try one more time. Now you've had a little rest, and just one little thing. So you got it here, but your elbow was like kind of out there. Try and get your elbow underneath that bell there, yeah? And almost use this as most of the weight is going through your torso, but it's just underneath that dumbbell, yeah? Yeah. One more. If she gets this, we're done. Wrapping it up. Come on. That's it. Better? Oh, she's got it now.
Yeah!
Yeah? Well done. Yeah, well done.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Well done. So we'll call it a day there, yeah?